Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks and plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Hopefully you are doing quite well. We have another interview from Brick World Chicago. This one is a Jurassic build, believe it or not. I know. Last year we had Mike that was John Hammond, his crazy wild visitor center build, which he upgraded this year, but we did not pull another interview with him. No, the interview we have today is with Tanner. Tanner created this exquisite scene with the mosasaur from the first Jurassic World movie jumping out, chewing on that shark. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in with Tanner. Alrighty guys, we have our next interview up. And I was told to find this guy by Kate, the Brick Huntress, as you guys have known. And I found him. Tanner, thank you for taking some time away from your really cool stuff and coming to chat with me.
My pleasure.
I want to talk about, I'm sure you have more than one build over there.
Yep.
You have many builds, like most people do. So the question becomes, the main build that I was told, like, hey, this is like a focal point. You have a scene from original Jurassic World film. I guess I have to state that now because there's so many.
Absolutely, yeah.
You created this build as part of a series on Brick Huntress with the Let's Build series. So I'll let you dive into it because you're going to do it way more justice than I can because you're the one that put fingers to plastic. So I want to hear all about this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, Kate had a Let's Build challenge last June, and I think I'd done 2 or 3 of her challenges before, and she does a fantastic job with challenges. The whole community is really receptive to people, especially new to challenges. So that always inspires me to join them and to build in them. But she did Let's Build a Jurassic Park, and the challenge was the brief was you had to build within the confines of a 32 by 32 base plate, right? And so that, I grew up in the 90s, so I could have done classic Jurassic Park, right? Everybody's doing classic Jurassic Park, especially now this year in the challenge, everybody's going to do it because it's the 30-year anniversary. Sure. But that scene, the scene from Jurassic World, the first of the new trilogy, where the mosasaur comes out of the water and just grabs the shark, SeaWorld style, just so captivating, right? And that's what I knew I wanted to build. So, but I wanted to do it without using a molded dinosaur, right? So many of the folks do a molded dinosaur, and so I started there and I built the creature, I built the mosasaur, I got the scale that I wanted to build. But it was so tough within the 32 by 32 base plate. Yeah. So it was, I did the dinosaur first, and he took up most of the base plate, right? Or she took up most of the base plate. And then I was able to fit one section of stands in there to put people in, right? Mm-hmm. And I posted it on the challenge, and the reception was overwhelming to it. It was, everybody liked it. People reached out. People loved it. Kate doesn't usually pick winners for her challenges, and this one she didn't either, but she asked her kids to pick a winner. Like, go through the list and tell me which one your favorite is, right? And it was kind of different, and I was honored. Her son picked mine, her son Will, and her daughter said, that's the one, that's it. And so just that response, I turned around and said, okay, I got to make this, because my creation was digital. It was a digital build, right? And so I said, I need to make this. I need to show it to a greater audience. And now I don't have to build within that 32 by 32 space. I can expand it out. So I went larger. I wanted to get 5 sections of stands in there instead of just the one. And then the other piece that I wanted to do was I wanted to include everybody in the community in the build. And so if people had traded a sig fig with me, or, I'd made one up for somebody, you got a place in the stands, right? And then once I ran out of room in the stands, because they hold 60 people, so 60 Lego figures in the stands, I had to include space in the back as well. So then I created a whole walking path behind it and created some concessions and everything like that. So it was just, those build challenges are so inspirational. They take somebody that maybe you don't even have a social media presence, and this time last year I didn't have much of a presence, and just the reaction to them is overwhelming. And so it inspires you to create something awesome, like Kate's tagline, to go for it. Yeah, create what you love. I love dinosaurs. I wanted to dig up dinosaur bones when I was a kid. Then I found out that they make no money, so I was like, I got to do something a little different. But yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. And then so Kate asked me this year, so we're in June again, a year from that time, and she said we need to do Jurassic June again, and so she asked me to host the challenge with her this year. So Let's Build Jurassic June started on the 1st, and it's going through the month, and Kate and I are co-hosting the challenge.
So you added your mosasaur into a scene. It's in that amphitheater of Jurassic World, where I guess the aquarium it's being kept in.
Yes.
And you have all the sig figs that are those of you that don't know, sig figs are like, I guess we could say, personalized minifigs of people. Yeah. Some people have them custom printed. Some people just take existing pieces. Anyway, and then you really, like, it feels like a true on environment. Like I could plot my minifigure and be there.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm watching this thing. This is good. And the scale is perfect. I think the scale came across really, really well when I was initially shown this. Why decide, what, I'm just going to make this whole big thing? Because you've really taken it. Yeah. I mean, your details on just the amphitheater alone, I mean, they fit. Yeah. Like somebody's watching Jurassic World and they take that and put that in the scene that you have built. It fits perfect. So what was just to be able to bring it to a show? Like, hey, I've managed to get this mosasaur that is really cool, breaching the water. Why not do this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was ironic too. We did the digital challenge, and then I came to Brick World last year, and one of the creatures that was built was like they won the award for best creature last year. But it was a full size mosasaur, like swimming, and it was gorgeous, just breathtaking, right? So I said, hey, I want to bring this and show it off to people, and then, as you said, I built the amphitheater, and I said, okay, it just needs a little bit more, right? So I added palm trees, and then I said, okay, I got room to put a walking area behind, so I need to deck that out. I need to put some concession stands. It's a theme park, so I need to be able to put some minifigure stories in there.
Yeah.
And then the last touch is, I said, I want something that's going to draw your eyes into the scene. So many times you build for these shows, and if you build it without a background or an open back, and you just have an open back, sometimes people will be looking at your build and then they get distracted by whatever's displayed behind it. Right. So very selfishly, I said, I want to draw people's eyes into my build, keep them looking. So I built, for lack of a better term, a mosaic to put behind it, landscape, 3 different colors of mountains, and then just kind of a sunset with just stacking plate. Really simple technique, but I felt that it just framed the scene and draws your eyes into the scene.
Yeah, your focal point pushes towards what you have built. Like you said, you don't have somebody sitting behind the table, or you don't have, somebody's child running ragged on the other side of a table, So that, I think that was one of the other things that I noticed initially when I saw it, was not consciously thinking, oh, he built this wall, essentially a wall to block out the view of everything else, but it really encapsulates the entire build. And like you said, it just, the focal point, it pushes back towards the build versus letting anything outside drown out what you have going.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and the last thing that I added to it is lights.
Oh, okay.
And that was just because this show, Brick World, does the lights out at 10 p.m. And so you don't want your build to be lost in that, right? So I had to add some lights to it as well. Yeah. So yeah.
Awesome. I can't wait to see that later. Yeah, that's going to be fun. That is going to be, if those of you that are listening have never been to Brick World Chicago and they do the lights out thing, obviously it's not open to the public.
Right.
But displayers, it is incredible. It's a sight to behold for sure. So you guys are it's still June. Jurassic June is going on and stuff like that. Are you planning on doing anything else Jurassic June wise for yourself? Or like, you know what? I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and try and build something else to see where I can push myself.
Not this year.
Not
I
this
don't
year.
think so. I just being so busy with this convention, I don't think I'm going to have a minute to do it. I might build a set just to,
Right.
some of the new 30th anniversary sets have come out, so I might build one of those. I do have some potential plans to expand that.
Okay.
So do other parts of the park or other parts of the scene. I really wanted to get the gyrospheres in there somewhere from that movie.
Cool.
So I think I may add on some base plates and throw some gyrospheres and some dinosaurs
Very
in
cool
there as well.
It won't be something that is poorly received. That is for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
The critical acclaim is out there because it's dinosaurs. Like you said, you want to be a paleontologist when you grow up. Well, you realize they don't make any money, and you need all this funding from grants and stuff
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a cool job, but I can't do it because I can't survive on it. But so your build background, I'm curious to know. People don't just jump in immediately and start building. Well, they do at some point, yes. What made you just kind of decide? Obviously, you created this digitally. Some people do. Some people are like, you know what? I want to put fingers to plastic. Where does the desire lie to create mocks and stuff like that?
So I'm an engineer.
Okay.
Yeah. So pivoted from the paleontology scene to going into engineering, math, science, all that stuff. So that's helped. I do it for a living. Like, I build, I create, I solve problems.
Yeah.
Whether you want to build digitally or by hand, and I do both.
Okay.
I don't have the most extensive brick inventory.
Okay.
So I, especially for these challenges, I build a lot of things digitally just because I'm very familiar with software. I use Bricklink Studio, very familiar with it. I can manipulate things. I can use a brick that I might not have and don't have to wait on a Bricklink order.
Yeah.
And then you can easily pull it into Bricklink if you want to build it with your hands. Sometimes you run into issues because you'll build something that the software lets you do, and then you get it and build it, and you're like, that doesn't work. There's some interference there. What's going on? But my passion just is in creating and solving problems. Really is big too. But coming to shows like this is just constant inspiration as well.
Yeah.
I've been into Lego for since I was probably 5-6 years old, and Lego is so different than when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
Just when you had very limited amount of brick selection to build with and colors even, and now today you can go out there and you can create so much. You can create scenes like that you couldn't do when we were kids.
Yeah,
and you have
absolutely.
that endless imagination as well.
Right.
So yeah, I think that even pushes me to try and do different things with it.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, as a kid, you're like, you're using what you have on hand. You may have some pirate stuff, you may have some city stuff, or at that time in town, you may have some other things, but you don't have all the pieces you need, and you have these big ideas in your head. Now that you're an adult, you look at it, and I always say, your budget starts somewhere. You've got your essentials that you have to pay, your living expenses, health, if you have kids, stuff like that. And then you always find a slice of the budget, and you're like, this is going to plastic this month.
That's right.
And so being a mock builder, I know a lot of them here are part of Lego User Group of Lug. Are you part of a Lug with anybody?
I'm not. I'm in the St. Louis area. There is a Lego User
Gateway
Group
Lug.
there, Gateway Lug. They're here displaying as well. I just haven't jumped into that.
That's the next step.
Into it. Yeah, it could happen. I don't want to feel creatively constrained. And sometimes you can feel that if you join a user group, you feel like you have to conform to what they're going for. So that's why I haven't dove into it. And then it's just time, right?
Time.
When I'm building on my own in my studio or where I have my bricks, I can do it on my own time if it's late at night. But when you're in lugs, you got to kind of collaborate. You got to join together. So haven't dove in those waters yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Well, it can be a really rewarding experience, and we can talk off air about this. But So your journey started, you're a younger kid and stuff like that. You're building all kinds of mocks and stuff like that. You don't have to reveal any details. Is there something you're like, you know what? I have this inspiration. I'm going to start building something else. Maybe not Jurassic related.
Yeah, it's funny. I did before this show, kind of a funny story. So last year, my showpiece for Brick World was a mosaic.
Okay.
And huge X-Men fan. Again, I grew up in the 90s, so 97 X-Men.
Yes.
I had the comic books, all that stuff. So I built a pretty large Wolverine mosaic. And it was actually for another Instagram challenge that I built it for. Built it digitally, got a great reaction to it. It's actually how I met Kate. She saw it and reached out to me and said, okay, like, I'm a mosaic builder too. And
the mosaic queen.
The mosaic queen, yeah. So she said, I'm a mosaic builder too. I said, that's an understatement, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm very
we know who you
familiar
are.
with your work, yeah. So we got to talking about that, and she loves X-Men as well. And so after that show, I wanted to do Magneto from the X-Men 1 issue. And then I saw it here at Brickworld. So E.J. Bacan, Art on the Block is his handle, but he did the Magneto, the same exact comic book that I was going to do. He did it, and I'm like, okay, can I do better than that? I don't know. So I may still dive into that. Part of why what I do when I create is color is very important, right?
Right.
Very vibrant colors that draw you in. Nothing against Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but it's gray.
It's gray.
It's light grays. It's dark grays. Right?
Very much so.
Colors like that are, they're eye-catching. They draw you in. So with my Jurassic build, very colorful, very vibrant. With that one, Magneto's purple. He's purple and pink and, all of those things.
Colors that aren't usually used in Lego builds.
Absolutely.
Historically.
And probably more expensive as
yes,
well, right?
Yes, of course, right?
So that was my inspiration until coming here and then seeing that. So I'm like, now maybe I got to go back to the drawing board, right? Yeah.
Maybe you need like a full, not a full scale, but like an actual piece you can sit on the table. Like, here
3D,
is 3D.
absolutely.
Yeah, here's my guy.
Yeah, just a buster like they did. Yeah,
absolutely.
But, hey, that's a good thing. That's it.
And the great thing about coming to a show like this, well, any show in general, you constantly are getting ideas.
Yeah.
And it's like last year I talked with Martin from Bricks in a Snap. Or Brick Snaps. Brick Snaps. There's so many snaps
right?
with bricks and... Anyway, so Martin last year was saying there was somebody that had made an Encanto house, because he brought the Encanto house last year. And somebody had made it somewhere else at another show. It might have been... It wasn't the year before, because we didn't have it. I can't remember.
There was one here. Yeah,
okay.
There was another one here.
And they were talking and stuff like that, and he was like, I could do this. And it's this... It's a friendly competition. It's like, how can I one-up by learning what you did, but at the same time building up my skill level so the community continues to improve and gain this crazy amount of wealth of knowledge and experience and technique. There's always new things. And the thing is, because you're a mock builder, you don't work for the Lego group, you don't have to worry about the quote-unquote illegal
techniques.
Absolutely. You know what? If I want to take plates and spread them apart just to be able to get this arch, I can do that.
Yeah.
I don't have to work within that constraint. So that's very cool. But where can people find you at?
So I'm at Tangem Lego on Instagram, and then I also do a Friday night stream with some of my buds. We call it Building with Buds.
Okay.
We've been doing it for a little over a year. It's definitely an after dark kind of stream.
Yeah, of course. The 18 plus.
18 plus. But it's myself. It's a guy by the name of Brick Building Biker. It's his YouTube channel currently that we're doing it on. And then Easy Craftsman is the third member of our trio. And then we occasionally have a fourth on guest. And Friday nights we just hang out. Sometimes we build. Sometimes we talk. Sometimes we don't. But those are the two main places. Yeah.
Awesome. Last thing before I let you get out of here. I like hearing when mock builders, everybody has a different jumping off point. Some people just go full bore into it. Some people start digitally. What advice would you give somebody that's looking to just say, you know what, I want to create my first mock? What advice or words of wisdom would you give one?
Yeah, a couple of things. So when you come to shows like this, it's very easy to get inspired, but it's also easy to get intimidated because there are so many huge inspirational builds, and not everybody can afford that. Not everybody thinks that, that they have the talent for that. Focus on what you love. I think it's Kate's tagline, right? Create what you love. So focus on something that you really love. Don't try and build for what you think others are going to love. Build for what genuinely inspires you. And then it's okay to start small, or if you have a grand vision, go big with it. But focus on detail, right? What most people do when they look at these builds is they're not just walking by. They're leaning in. They're staring. They want to see the story you're telling with the bricks. And so even if you build a small, let's say 16 by 16 vignette, and you pack it with details and you're very intentional with what you put in there, it's going to get the same response that these big 20 base plate displays are getting, right? And again, if you love what you're building, it's going to inspire somebody.
Yeah,
so just focus on that.
Absolutely. I love hearing that. So check him out on his just Instagram. On his Instagram handle. And Jurassic June is still going on. I know there's a contest that is coming up because I'm sponsoring one of the prizes. I think she said it's the 23rd or 24th.
Yeah.
It's sometime next week. Well, whenever you guys are hearing this, it's sometime in June 20. I'll share details. Anyway, so go check Tanner out. Tanner, thank you for coming on and sparing a few minutes and chatting about your build and stuff like that. And I can't wait to see what you bring in the future.
Oh, thanks. Absolute pleasure.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, that'll wrap it up. Quite a build, quite an interesting creation, to say the least. Something that was really well done. And then not only the fact that it was lit for World of Lights that happened Saturday night. Unfortunately, it's not open to the public, which is probably a good thing because somebody would run into something without a doubt. So that is going to wrap up. Go ahead, follow Tanner on Instagram. He's got some really cool stuff. He hosts with Brick Huntress on their Jurassic stuff and their build stuff, all that kind of goodness. So go ahead, go follow him. Until we meet again, I'm your Minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it.